Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the GeekVerse podcast. Don't know what episode because we've got so many reviews popping off this week. No idea, but I am the master podcaster, Trasnail, and I'm joined by.
The world's fastest, Kirklin Patzer. Just the world's fastest. I don't know
Damn
what
it!
that was.
But you know what, Taylor? We got here's a plug for the audio listeners. I'm not even gonna say what it is. You need to go watch the first 20 seconds of the Sonic review because Kirkland. Did you catch that live on air? What it was? Don't say what it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I changed something. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see if Kirkland doesn't catch it, and he didn't. So you gotta go. You gotta watch the first 20
I got
seconds.
it. I didn't
You
say
gotta
nothing.
Yeah.
That was my script, just reading what's in front of me, my teleprompter.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Go fuck yourself. And we're joined by
Mr. Stone Taylor Field.
Mr. Stone. Oh fuck.
Do you like my background here that I chose? When you guys
I was
joined
telling
in?
Travis, and Travis told me he picked it out actually.
No, I
Of
said I
course,
did
he's
not
always
pick
ta-
it out.
He's always taking credit for my backgrounds I choose.
You know what I kind of like? I feel like
It's Sonic just peeking through the our two images.
And you know the good thing we though have Kirkland on our screens. It's unfortunate both in our like corners. You have a little like orange, yellow, and the blue. Same thing I do. I got a little like over here. It's kind of like orange, yellow, and the blue. But
yeah.
unfortunately, they're on separate sides because if I could have it on the right side, it would look like my room's bleeding over into yours, right? Because even if we switch
Yeah.
around, it does nothing, right? It's still
Yeah.
just the same. So unfortunately, Taylor's got no blue, but. Let's get into this.
Let's get into
Taylor, where can they find us? We got lots of reviews everywhere and everything. Me and Kirkland are going to be dropping that this weekend. I'm going to be dropping an ambulance review. There will be a newscast. There's Moon Knight. There's Side Quest, which is a big side quest coming up. You guys are playing or reviewing Lego Star Wars, so I can't wait to listen to that one because I've heard nothing but good things. But I can't wait to hear a deep dive when we got all this content dropping. We got Fantastic Beasts next week. Where can they find it, Taylor?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find it and us all with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yeah. So let's just get into it. Head down to the
Mr.
links.
Chuckles over here.
It's so, okay. I had not checked my phone. I try not to check my phone during cast, but when I get notifications, I still check them because like I have 3 children. I got late, so just in case something's need to happen. Taylor just dropped a very good GIF response to something Jessica had about her
Oh, that got
saying
me.
something, and Taylor dropped the classic "Wizard is never late." Wait, do you guys hear music?
Oh, that was my bad. That was weird.
No, that was me. That wasn't you.
Was it you? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I accidentally clicked something.
What did you think it was, Kirkland?
I thought I just clicked my mouse because I saw feeding the ducks.
Why are you hitting just music randomly, Taylor? Oh
I was
my
just trying to like put some background serenade to you talking.
Well, you could do that. You know what? Next time you could do that during the links. You know, like I think
I was
that could
thinking of
spice
that.
up the links and everything. But yeah, head down below. Everything where to find us, podcast network, all the stuff. Hashtag feeding the ducks. But most importantly, Patreon. That makes things like side quests and all these other reviews happen. The extra content, you guys give us the support so we can make the time to do these reviews. So we very much appreciate it. Taylor, cut that music because we're going to talk about some Sonic right now. I will go first because I'll probably the lowest on this one, but I'm not here to shit on it. I'm not here to like rake it over the coals. For me, this is a hard one to critique because the first one was just like, okay, we're getting a Sonic movie. What is this about? Like, what's it going to be like? And we saw it, right? I rewatched about a quarter of it. The first one, that's as far as me when got, and then we never went back to it. But between like my memories of the first one and then this one, I think this is hard for me to critique in a way because, and maybe you guys can rebut against me. Taylor will like a sack of shit, so it's hard. Taylor will like anything, so you know I'll understand that he'll say yes. But for me, we don't really review kids movies, and I know like you got Pixar and Disney, but most of the time they're kind of like 4 quadrants hit everything, right? I feel this one, I do like this one more than the first one, I think, because it's a bit more like fantastical, different characters, more world, just balls to the wall. And we talked about this in the trailers, but the good thing is it's not just the trailers, the video game references to Sonic, and I'm more like a mainstream, probably above average mainstream. I played a lot of Sonic games back in the day. I'm no Kirkland Patzer running around with his blue hair at the age of 16. But like,
you remember. You remember that story.
yes, of course. And there's also other things in sports I want to shout out, like, oh, I know why you like Sonic now. But So I like this one more. It's just as I was watching this one, it definitely settled in. Like, oh, these are kids movies. You know, like this had like an Agent Cody Banks vibe. Like this had those type of early 2000s Big Fat Liar. Like the stuff we've seen that when you watch back now, you're like, I could only really enjoy this to the fullest at a certain age, in my opinion. I don't think it's bad per se. I think what they should do is they should just fully embrace it being a kids movie. And there's like a few minor subplots of like the humans, adults. I'm not saying cut the adults out, but there's like these are minor spoilers. There's like a wedding storyline. There's like a James Marsden's cop friend who might be Taylor in some alternate universe if he was a sheriff. But like there's things like that where it's like, even though it's only like 5-7 minutes, you could cut that out. The kids in my theaters aren't laughing. They don't give a shit about this. And guess what? I bet none of us give a shit about any of that adult stuff either. So that's why I hope for the third one, because I think this is gonna do gangbusters. It was cool when, I'm not sure where your guys' theater, we got a poster and a comic book when we went there. So Gwen was all jazzed. But yeah. So
I definitely didn't get that. Fuck.
Oh yeah, the kids see. Yeah, should have went to the Landmarks, baby. But the kids seemed like, my theater wasn't packed, but they all seemed to really enjoy it. So I think we'll get a third. I think it's tracking well. But that's what I'd say is like my only real con is, to me, it is a kids movie. So now I know what to really expect. But they should just more lean towards that. Cut out the adult subplots. Just have them be around Sonic and Tails and, you know, and any other characters that may join. So overall, I had like a fun time with it. Again, I don't know if I guess it has to do with my cutting thing. It's just like, I don't know if it need to be 2 hours. Again, I think kids would still enjoy this. I also prefer Jim Carrey in this one. I still think Jim Carrey is like, I love his actions and his acting. There's some lines in here that I just like despise. I hate how much they're trying to make like later haters a thing. Like it was just like, there's
I'll be saying that in COD when I get wins.
Oh yeah, there's some stuff where, again, because when you're watching this, like, this is fucking cringe, but he's going ham, and I like this Robotnik a bit more than the first, because the first one, he was just really annoying for me, but this one, it feels like he's a bit more of a loose cannon, because obviously he is Robotnik, like Eggman fully, and he's been on this island and stuff. So overall, I enjoyed it, but I also had the preference of like, I wouldn't have enjoyed it if I didn't see it with Gwen. Like if it wasn't for the podcast and Gwen, I would have no reason to be watching these, because these feel like they're just made for 10-year-olds, or made for Kirklin like many years ago. Now Kirklin might be different because he still has that nostalgia, which that I understand. But and my last point was, this just goes to theaters. So in the past 24 hours, I saw Ambulance, I saw Sonic, and I saw Everywhere and Everything. I got Doctor Strange every single time. I got the Liam Neeson movie Memory twice. And then there's another movie I got, which I didn't understand. So when we sit down, we got Spider-Verse 2. I'm like, this makes sense. We got some samurai dog movie with Michael Cera. No fucking idea what that is. But that's coming out with Samuel Jackson as well. Like, okay. And then we got Doctor Strange again. So it's like, okay, you know, it's not an anime movie, but it fits. Now, this is where I understand that, because this is a Paramount movie, they want to play other Paramount movies, right? I think the crowd that I was watching this movie playing a Top Gun Maverick trailer is the complete wrong demographic.
Yeah, I got that one too. That was odd.
Yeah, not that it's inappropriate, but it's just like, none of these fucking kids care about Tom Cruise in his 60s trying to fly a jet.
Coming back.
Yeah, it felt so out of place that I'm in the series. Hey, mom, all these kids, and just like, they're called orders, Maverick. And it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, I get that it's still Paramount, but that's the only note I had to shut up. I was just kind of laughing. I was just like, what is this? What
You're
is
doing
this
a
trailer?
retro with Gwen now? Of Top
Yeah,
Gun?
I asked her. She didn't even remember the trailers. I'm like, what do you think about that plane movie? What plane movie? Like the plane movie with the people, the real life? Because we say there's cartoons and real life movies, like the real life people. No idea. So that shows like her as a kid just tuning that the fuck out. I'm sure every kid did too. So that was my Sonic 2 experience. I think there'll be some fun things to talk about in spoilers. But Taylor, what do you feel? We'll save the big Sonic fan for last.
Oh god, yeah, I love seeing Jim Carrey, you know, get into these quirky roles. It's definitely the better for me, and he definitely doesn't disappoint in this,
The salmon.
in this at all. So that being said, I love this movie. I think it's just got so much crazy wackiness and everything like that. But I can't, like, the big thing for me in this movie is, again, it's not a spoiler, seeing Tails and seeing Knuckles. But I think I kind of like the first one more. I liked Jim Carrey a lot more on that first one. But then I liked
Are you
how he
kidding me?
looked. I liked how he looked a lot more in this one. And then again, I like that we got the other Sonic verse characters in this movie. But then, like, I kind of like that first one because it didn't feel necessarily like it was super, like, aimed for that super young audience, right? It didn't feel like a super kiddie movie. I feel like, okay, I went in as an adult, watched that first movie and thought, okay, like I'm on board with this. When I was watching this one, I kind of did feel like, okay, a lot of these things are very much aimed towards little kids, but there were moments that I still could enjoy. And you're right, they did have certain different story arcs that were kind of like a little bit too far-fetched, I think, and like I didn't need this. I was kind of like, Jesus, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. We'll get that. I didn't even have a problem with them being far-fetched, just the fact that they're in there. And then when they got far-fetched, I was like, why are we doing this in Sonic 2 right now, you know? But
yeah, it just seemed to take up a lot of time. But yeah, I think I would just kind of put the first one a little bit higher, but not by a huge margin, because this one definitely had a lot of stuff that I really, really liked. This one felt like they just pulled so many good elements out of the video game and put it onto the big screen, something that Halo's not doing. But it just was just really, really nice just to enjoy this movie.
So Taylor, can I ask you a quick question? Would you rather Halo be adapting the video games more like this, but it had to be a kid's show? Like it had to be very kiddie? Like they say that's your compromise. Like, oh, he won't take his helmet off. We're gonna adapt this very much so, but it's gonna be like a PG. Like there's gonna be jokes. Like Master Chief is gonna like fall. He's gonna fall on a banana. Yeah.
That could actually be fun. I think I would vote for that.
He's gonna throw pool parties in the living room.
Over what we're getting in that show, I think I would go with that.
Have you caught up, Kirklin? I mean,
no.
Okay. Don't.
I can't. We'll leave you going insane with your solo reviews. We will catch up. We will be back. One of us will be back next week. Yeah. Should be Kirklin, because Kirklin's not seen fucking Fantastic Beasts, so that should be your homework to catch up on Halo.
That is true.
We're taking the bullets. But you didn't answer my question, Taylor. Would you find them adapting it more clearly, but it had to be a kid's show?
Yeah, they could do it.
Okay. Good to know. Kirklin Batzer. Big Sonic guy.
Yeah. So yeah, Sonic 2. It's funny. I feel like I'm just seeing so many movies like back to back lately, and just last week I saw my first movie like alone, and since then I've only seen movies alone. And like
Just
last
never
night,
going back.
Same.
Yeah.
like last night I saw Everywhere All at Once at like 9:55. Like I think that's like the
Same,
latest I've
yeah.
ever seen a movie, and it was like me and two other people in the theater. I'm like, this is just such a surreal experience.
You
And-
add each other on social media. You know, friends now.
No,
they-
they were a couple. They were a couple. I didn't want to third wheel them.
Man, that sucks for that dude. He was hoping to get some action, and then there's just one random guy in the theater.
And the
sitting
funniest
back
thing
there.
about it too, I was literally like Harry Osborn in the theater watching them. Like from like I was up above them, had like perfect view of anything that they could have been doing, and I'm just like staring down at them.
Yeah,
all.
you couldn't even have been in front, so they could have got away with something.
Yeah.
You're Harry Osborn. Man, I had that same experience Everywhere All at Once, where someone showed up 10 minutes into the movie, and I saw the corner of my eye, like the door, like they looked like the door was open. I'm like, that's weird, and no one really came in. So, and then this girl just came, and I locked eyes with her for a solid 30 seconds, 10 minutes of me, and then she sat down like 5 seats beside me. She was in the same row. I was like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, man, I got this back row alone. Every couple's in front of me. Awesome. And it was so awkward because I was like, what are you doing? And she had a backpack. And anytime I see a person with a backpack in the movie theater, I worry a little bit, but...
Was she alone too?
She was alone, so me and her just sat in this aisle alone, watching Everywhere All at Once together. It was wild, and it felt so awkward because like I was just clearly looking here, like I'm just staring at the wall. Like, is someone gonna come? No, I guess not. I'm just staring, and then she walked right in the frame, and I looked me dead in the eye, like you know that John Cena moment in.
Oh yeah, that's exactly.
That's what that felt like, and now it's like I have to sit beside her for a whole 2 hours and stuff like that.
That is good. I like that story.
Sonic 2.
But yeah, Sonic 2. You know, I quite enjoyed the first one. I think I just really liked what they did with the characters, and I just wanted them to lean more into the route of like the fantastical, like Travis said, and just dive into more Sonic-y world stuff. And I got more of that in this one, so I'm happy with that. I definitely think I like this one more than the first. Jim Carrey, I completely agree with what you said, Travis. Like he is really good at like just being like a character, but then like there would just be one-liners that he would be dropping, and the first one like okay, it just brushes off me, and the second one it's like oh, okay, and then by the end of the movie he was just dropping them like constantly, and it was just like okay, yeah, I'm I'm ready to be done with this character. Like let's, I think I wanted him to be more standoffy than he was, but maybe I'll go into that more in spoilers, but all of the Sonic-y stuff, like same thing with the first movie. I just loved all of it, and since there was more of it in this one, I just that stuff was awesome. I liked all the video game references. I think the humor overall hit like over half for me, so that's always good, especially when you're sitting there like in a theater alone watching a movie like this. Like, if like every humor just wasn't hitting for me, I think this would have been like a really long, terrible experience.
When did you see this movie?
Today.
What time?
Like 4.
How many people were in this theater?
Not many. There was like I don't know, a couple groups.
Were they all just groups of parents with kids?
He's making fun that you're a fully grown man alone in this theater.
Oh, fuck off. I'm wearing my Sonic hat. I got like my blue hair gel in.
But am I right?
My
Were they all
Hedgehog
groups
nose.
of kids and parents?
There was like a older high schoolish couple that was there.
High schoolish. Oh, Kirklin
They're all
just sitting
kids
there.
to me.
The man, what the movie to see alone? Just
This is a movie review, not a movie going review. But yeah, Sonic 2. Anything non-spoilery? I figured the review was gonna go like this.
It's the hat with Sonic on it. That's just the icing on top.
Did you wear that to the review? Did you wear it at the theater?
No, I didn't have it.
Oh,
I went straight from work. I went straight from work, so I sent my toque on. No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah,
I
you
didn't.
did.
He totally wore it. All these kids walking by. Can I get that hat, Mom? Don't look at
I got
him.
my poster and my little comic book.
Yeah. They're like, oh, sorry, there's only one left. Chris like, well, give it to me.
Adam Pass, bitch. Or landmark member, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck it's called.
Yeah, honey, don't grow up to be like him. Okay. Anything else non-spoiler? Fuck, I just think of Kirklin as James Franco's Harry in that theater, but Sonic now with all these kids.
Christ. I agree with what Travis said regarding like the subplots with the humans. I just really didn't care for that at all. There was many moments I was just scratching my head. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what type of movie this is, but this is not Sonic. But yeah, let's just get into spoilers.
Did
We
you
can
ask
talk
all the
about
kids at your
specifics.
screening about that? Did you guys agree about that subplot? They're like, what subplot?
What do you think about the planes? What do you think about the dude with the
What
planes?
do you think about Jim Carrey's acting? Who's Jim Carrey? Okay, Taylor, get ready to write this down because yes, we are going to take our first ad break and then we'll be into spoilers. So I think if you've seen it, obviously it's gonna be a fun one. If you haven't, have no plans, honestly, would still listen through. I think we're gonna have some fun, and we will be right back. And we're back. So I want to get the big negatives out of the way first, just because people might be like, "Oh, what are we referring to?" So there's two subplots. There's the one where again they're very minor, but just cut them out. It's like James Marsden. He's going to Hawaii for his. Are they married? Is this his wife or is his girlfriend?
He's
I can't
married, so
remember.
it's his sister-in-law's
Yeah.
wedding.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's going there. He leaves this guy, some guy in charge. I don't know. This is a guy that I think could be
Dewey.
Taylor for you. Yeah, Dewey. Yeah, times 100. The whole thing of him watching the city and then also like having these mini scenes with like Robotnik's like assistant. Get all that out of there. It's stupid. It's not like
Could've
all
saved
the
so much time.
all
Yeah.
the
That
jokes are-
butter
and it-
knife was just brutal.
Oh yeah, that joke was really. You better tell me. You better tell me. And then he eats like the toy bagel and stuff. Like it was just silence in my theater. And honestly,
Yeah.
if you probably looked up the screen time, it's probably 5 minutes or less, but it feels like an eternity when they're on screen together. I think you honestly could have just dropped the assistant altogether too from this for Robotnik. You didn't like just have Robotnik go wild. He doesn't need to have his assistant that he can go back to and touch base on. So there's that. And then for people, if you've not seen the movie, I'll quickly lay it out. Like they said, he's going to his sister-in-law's wedding. So, okay. She's Shamar Moore from Criminal Minds. She's getting married to this guy, and they have like wedding stuff, which is not needed, like James Marsden playing volleyball and everything like that. But then there's this, the whole big thing is you don't want to screw up. You don't want to screw up the wedding because he was not friends with her last time. So they do actually one little joke that I did laugh, where he sees the ring bearer girl, they talk, and it's a joke. He like takes the ring from her and he swapped the rings accidentally for one of Sonic's rings for a wedding ring. I like that. That was fun when it's like, oh, he has to go up there and interrupt the wedding. But so they're doing all this. So we're leading up to the wedding. It's like an actual wedding. Sonic comes through the ring, right? He crashes through. He's brought, and we'll get to why he's doing that. He's being chased. There's an avalanche. And then what proceeds to happen is all these people pull out tasers. All his guests and best men and groomsmen pull out tasers and badges. They shock Sonic. They get tails. They lock him up. And the big reveal is the man she was marrying is actually an FBI agent. And this has been a deep sting operation for, I'm guessing, a year or so of him. Like, this man has been faking that he's going to marry this woman and everything just to catch Sonic. They do catch Sonic. Then we proceed to have a lot of hijinks of the bride is obsessed with finding Shamir Moore, and she wants to just like run him over or beat him up. And the weirdest part is that this movie doesn't, and all this is bad, like all this stuff is bad. And the movie doesn't commit though, because they start to make him be like, he's looking at their ice sculpture like longingly, like he actually like was maybe getting feelings for her. But he never says that in the movie after. He's just like, oh, I feel really bad. But
he does. He says his feelings.
He's like,
for
what
her.
a woman. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that, and then he says like, oh, I did the one thing I wasn't supposed to. Like, I fell in love, and then they kiss.
fuck, I must have.
There'll be another wedding. In
I must have. Really? They did kiss?
Yeah.
Holy fuck! I blanked that out of my entire.
It was
Wow.
right after he looked at the ice sculpture and he got back up.
Did they kiss? Did you not sure you saw like a Snyder cut version of this movie?
I'm pretty.
Did you see this, Kirkland?
I
Did
saw
they
it.
kiss?
I saw it. Yeah.
Okay, then I take it back. So they did get to the point of it, but here's the point of it. That they get this point where he says, I love you and everything like that. None of this is needed. None of this works. Chop it all out. So if anyone's wondering what we're talking about, there's these mini side plots, get rid of them,
Absolutely.
I was fairly alarmed, like when she just like came on the golf cart, and like they built up such a scene too, because I thought it was gonna be like Robotnik or someone, because the smashing and the two agents like, what is that? And like it was slow mo, and then she just comes in, drifts in the golf cart, explodes in the background, and like slowly walks. I'm like, what is going on?
While drinking the bottle of wine. Remember that.
While drinking the bottle of wine. Kids aren't gonna get this.
In that moment, that's where I was like, what movie am I watching right now? Like, I haven't seen Sonic for what feels 10 minutes. It's just been this like weird wedding sting operation with the bro from Hawaii 5-0, and it was just so strange. It just didn't sync up with the movie at all. Like by the end of it, I think I gave it a little bit of a pass, just because it kind of introduced Gun, which is like the big bads, cop guys that are chasing Sonic in the games. So it kind of led to something there, but like overall, it was just so long, and like it was just taking screen time away from the characters that I actually wanted to see. So yeah, I was pretty upset in those moments. I think initially too, because I think even before that sequence happens, there's another scene in Hawaii where they're like playing volleyball, and it's just like it's just like James Marsden. Yeah. He is just getting like beat on. His team's the nerds against just like the Adonises, and it's just like the scene led to absolutely nothing, and then it just like cuts back to Sonic and Tails, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, please don't give me more of that. And then what followed was just ugh.
It led to one thing. James Marsden's character had the epiphany that Sonic needs his own people. Remember, he's like, I wish Sonic had that.
What, these dude so bros?
Bad. He's saying that, and these guys are like doing push-ups, like handstand push-ups. Like, I wish Sonic had that. It's like, do you? Like I get this. I get the sentiment of it all. And no, it's weird. Like, he was on the nerds and everything, but what I found strange is at one point, like he like Shamir Moore like shows his guns. He's like, yeah, and Marsden does too. And it's like Marsden's actually like pretty jacked. So it's like them trying to play up he's this like loser, not good looking, not in shape guy. I was like, this doesn't really work because James Marsden's a good looking dude and he's in shape. So like he might not be in shape with these guys, but like when he put up his guns, I'm like, he has fucking big ass muscle definition. Like it was strange that was what got us to Sonic needs his own people, but
It was
That's
just
what
so
they did.
unneeded. Like you can cut that entire scene out, and then you could still have like the wedding stuff to have the play with. Okay, he swaps out the ring, leads to gun. But yeah, like with the sister-in-law and like that little love story that just came out of nowhere, like that was just so unneeded, and it kind of disappointed me. I think like the beginning of the movie, I was like really, really positive on it, and then it kind of led to like the human stuff, and then like I think the middle part is where they're losing me a bit, and then once we just got more action stuff, that's where I was getting really pumped again.
I feel like the finale. I was impressed with the finale. I went balls to the wall of just like we're
Yeah.
gonna get nuts here. We're doing crazy.
It was
big
like a Sonic
robots.
battle, like
Yeah.
it was awesome, that's where I give them credit for like they increased like the Sonic stuff for this movie, and I think for that reason it was actually a successful sequel in my eyes. It introduced more characters. I think initially I was a little upset like when Sonic 1 first came out that it was only Sonic. Like I didn't have Tails, I didn't have Knuckles, but like it just lay the foundation for this main protagonist character, and then in the sequel you have Tails, and it's not even like they like beat around the bush on like how are they going to sync together. Tails literally just comes through a portal. It was the end credit scene in the last one, and he's just there with Sonic, and they're just best buds, and then by the end of it, Knuckles is part of the gang, and I can only imagine if they go for the third one, there's going to be more characters introduced. So I think for that, like I was really positive on what they did with all that stuff.
Did you stay for the post-credit scene, Kirkland?
Yeah, I'm kind of included.
No, I didn't actually. I got the fuck out of there. Yeah.
Are you
Tell me-
serious?
Tell
'Cause
me
the-
about it.
Because the lights went on and all the kids were like, "Who's that guy?"
Are you serious? You actually
Legit.
left?
No, legit. You got to tell me. I don't know what it is.
Oh my
The
god!
Spider-Man
Well,
swinging
first of all,
and
those
Tony Stark is
credits
like,
were
"You're
absolutely
coming with us."
fantastic. Those
The
credits
credits
are
were
definitely
cool.
worth staying.
The credits.
Well, they
from what
weren't
I
that
saw,
were
was
staying
awesome.
for you, Kirkland. Yeah,
oh
you left.
my god! And
I
he's
don't know.
the Sonic fan here. I can't believe you left.
Well, tell me what it is.
No, you got to go see it again. No, he just buys a
They
ticket.
won't let
to
me
walk
back.
in
I had
and
to get the fuck out of there. It's like
This
a
guy wouldn't
birthday
stop running
party
around the
going on,
theater.
and I'm just in the back.
Yeah. Okay, Taylor's not gonna tell you guys. So
okay.
what it ends with it ends with Gunn. So there's two things. They're like, we haven't seen Robotnik anywhere, but like but we haven't found remains. So they don't show a body for him. They show the assistant. He's in like police garb, like hiding himself. So it's kind of like if we can get Jim Carrey back, great. If not, he's gone. And then they're like, oh well, we've been looking at all these files and we found something that dates back to 50 years ago. And they're like, what is it? And they're like,
It's gonna be Shadow, isn't it?
it's called Project Shadow, and
Yeah.
then they show the bunker, and this thing comes up Winter Soldier style, and they actually show
that's so
they
badass.
show Shadow and his eyes open, and it's like red lightning and stuff like that. So
I would have been gasping. in
My
the
theater
theaters. That's
lit
awesome.
up. Like everyone
Yeah.
was like freaking out when that happened. It was
Me and
cool.
I was
Gwen were, like, the only
assuming they were
ones
gonna go
left.
that route for a third one. It just
Yeah.
makes the most sense. It's like a really, really popular. That was my favorite Sonic character back in the day for sure. So
and you missed his
thanks for describe
his
audio
appearance.
for the hearing impaired or visually
Yeah.
impaired.
But yeah, no, the finale was really good, and I liked all the addition of the characters. I was gonna say I probably should start there before I get the ending, but I just thought the ending was, big robot battle. Jim Carrey at times that's where maybe I got my cap of I've had enough of Jim Carrey when he got the emerald powers, because I just like, man, he's just going maybe a bit too ham for me. I liked the whole island or setup to get to the actual like emerald, like that was fun with all the traps and I think it all worked well. Obviously, you get the big reveal of him going, and that's why I realized why Kirkland loves Sonic is because like he's just Goku. I've never put that
yeah.
together. I've never put that,
when he goes
yeah.
supersonic, it's literally like they even gave him like the
Yes.
hair that goes up. Like in the games, from what I remember, it's just the exact same hair, but they actually like made it go up like Goku does.
Yeah, I don't know how I never put two and two together of like, oh, these are things that Kirkland loves. No wonder why. This makes so much sense. But yeah, I thought the finale, I'd say it ends on the strongest note because the middle chunk it's not that the movie's slow, but the middle chunk, I think you get a bit more of the human stuff. The beginning, I'm just always reminded the first act of how much I dislike Sonic because he's just so fucking annoying. Like this guy would not be living in my house. Like I can't stand Sonic. I really can't, So many times Knuckles would beat him up. And then you got the introductions, but I feel like the finale is the strongest part of the movie for me, and that's where it like makes it as far as a fun, because the humans are in it too much, and if they are, they're just kind of helping. Even though this movie completely like multiple times rips off Raya, and I'm not sure, maybe it's the other way around, but like because you know more of the Sonic lore, is that how the Master Emeralds are built, that all these people are in a bubble in a circle together of love like way in the past, and they all create their own gems and they form to make this big one?
I really don't know like the lore of
That's
Sonic.
fine.
It's just Robotnik and his army.
So
of
that could be
robots.
something where it's like that's similar to the canon, so whatever. But the ending is identical to Raya when they're all turning the stone. The whole message is, well, don't leave, and we can get through this.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing that
Oh, yeah.
happens with Sonic. So there's multiple times like, man, like they're just doing Raya. But other than that, I thought the finale was super strong as far as just like enjoyable. Not like I'm not putting this on the same tier as the Batman or something. I'm just saying as far as for the rest of the movie, I think they got video gamey, and that's what was the best thing. They're like, oh, we're gonna go, even though like the fun alludes to him drowning. You had like the mini music in there, like a little bit, and he like was doing the exact pretty much animations that Sonic would do when he's drowning. So there's lots of fun to be had in the third act for me.
Taylor,
What
what
about
do
you,
you think?
Taylor? Yeah.
I was just reading like
Mr.
how the
Stone.
Chaos Emeralds were formed and all that. 8,000 years ago. Interesting. Drakons.
Not real.
I mean, yeah, like I will definitely agree that the whole ending definitely was like the peak for me because it was just full on like the secret temple. I love that. It was just like full on, just felt like, okay, this is right out of like the original Sega Sonic video game. He's like sucking the air out the bubbles, and I was like, oh, that's just brilliant. It's just super subtle. Threw it in there. It's so fitting, and you got Knuckles joining the team now too. It was just super, super cool. I didn't mind when Robotnik turned into Chaos Master form or whatever, like when he was just randomly DJing to his games. I
Oh.
really got a kick out of that.
Oh.
That's where I, like
That was tough. That was
I
tough
felt
for
like
me.
felt like it's like a kid like playing with like the brand new iPod like Touch way back in the day, and you have this little like DJ app, and then like the directors are just like, Jim, just do your thing and we'll just record you. And it was just
100%. Yeah. I always want to, like, not that I want to read the Sonic script, but I just want to get my hands on it to see, like, hey, what's on the actual page? And then what does Jim do? Like, is it an actual line of dialogue, or is it like Jim say something like this? Because there's tons of the stuff that is not, I imagine, in the script, which I guess that goes, the good and the bad goes towards Jim Carrey, such as that DJ thing. For me, that was annoying the fuck out of me. It was just like, stop, please. Don't do this, Jim, you know?
Yeah, just commenting on when Knuckles and Robotnik were like going to the Chaos Emerald location. It very much just made me think of like a very specific level actually on its Sonic Adventure 2 Battle where you're playing as Robotnik and you're going like to his base, and it's just like I think it's in Egypt or something, so there's just like wacky traps and stuff, and it was very, very similar to the traps that they were facing in that sequence, so that was really great. And then the end battle just made me think, again, like the finale of that game, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, so just really scratching that nostalgia that I had from playing those games back on the GameCube. And yeah, with the underwater stuff, like that's Sega Genesis era stuff, you know. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I when I heard that little audio cue, I'm like, oh, I wanted them to just lean into it more and just go full suspense, because that music like still haunts me this day. Like I feel like if I actually drowned, I would be hearing that music, and then it would just be the end for me and my Sonic life. But yeah, all that stuff was great. All the action. I'm glad it had a strong finale, because yeah, I was worried when we were going on those random adventures to Hawaii with these humans that I was rolling my eyes, and like I just felt so like bad for like kids that are just like sitting there and they're just getting this like rom-com little mini movie while they're watching Sonic. Maybe they didn't even care. It was just me. I was pissed off.
Mom, that guy's really mad up there.
Yeah, I'm just like audibly ferocious towards the
Where's
screen.
Sonic?
I will say one thing quickly. I feel like I do really wish these movies did come out, you know, when I was at the prime Sonic
Oh, yeah.
like peak of like my youngster days, because all the Jim Carrey like one-liners that I really didn't like now, I would have just loved them, and like all of the human stuff probably would have just gone over my head and not really like stuck with it, because there's movies that are so bad that I haven't rewatched. I know they're so bad I don't want to rewatch them, but like I just have like that childhood, you know, like look upon it, or like a child's eye on it. So I feel like if I did get this movie back in the day, this probably would have been like my favorite movie of all time. So
Yeah, and that's where I think they are good for this. I still will always say we have not had our Iron Man yet or Batman Begins for video game like movies, not TV shows. That's a different conversation. But for movies, everyone still says that was Sonic 1. I still disagree with that. I don't think Sonic 2 is it either. But I think they're at like a good, really enjoyable level of like hitting. Like to me, you could watch this as a kid, and I could see kids being like all over this, you know. And especially now you got the other characters there who we haven't talked about. I think they were pretty spot on with what I remember of Knuckles. Again, I'm not the same level as as Kirkland, but like I feel like just even some of the and I've not even seen many of that episodes, but there was that classic like Sonic animated show back in the day, like early 2000s stuff like that. And I felt like this was whatever I pictured wanted from Knuckles. This is what I got: a Drax like stubborn brute who just like has that same ideology as like a Drax, where doesn't really, kind of misses some things, but you do not want to fuck with this guy. I had like there were some good one-liners in there with them, but I like what I did like though is they, drew this relationship between Sonic and him of like losing things at a young age, and that kind of put them on separate paths and things like that. So they actually, for a kids movie, made like a little mini arc there for Knuckles, which I really enjoy, when it could have just been like Robotnik was an asshole to him, which did happen as well, but there was a lot more to it. So I really enjoyed Knuckles. I think Knuckles for me definitely was a standout. Like if I could watch the Knuckles movie instead of Sonic, absolutely. I've always liked Knuckles. For half my life I thought Knuckles was a woman. I played all those original Sega games, thought that Knuckles was a woman.
It's the hair.
Still could be, honestly, just because Iris L was, yeah, I liked all that stuff there. And Tails, Tails is fine. I've always thought Tails is fine, but he works as like a good guy in the chair partner in this. And I thought their introductions, Knuckles was better. I agree with Kirkland, where Tails was just like he just gets dropped in the plot. But I thought for making it more of a adventure kids movie, they succeeded, and they didn't add these characters and I disliked them or anything like that. So I genuinely enjoyed the new characters as much as I could. So
yeah, I definitely agree with Knuckles. I think I was the voice, like in the trailer, I thought it was so badass. I'm like, okay, this is definitely like an imposing voice for a character like Knuckles. And I think when it came back into the movie, I'm like, okay, I haven't seen the trailer in a while. I kind of forgot that this was Idris Elba's voice. And then I think the more it went on, I was like, I kind of wish they did someone not so iconic for me personally.
Yeah.
But
because I kept hearing Idris until like the very end when they did the baseball game. I was kind of like, okay, I'm feeling that. But for a while, I just kept hearing Elba. I didn't, hear Knuckles.
He wanted to do a squeaky voice initially, I think, is what he was saying.
I would like to hear that version and see what it was like.
Release that cut.
Yeah.
But I think they did a good job of just making him, first of all, the look, great. They did such a good job with his design. All the effects for him were just so epic and just badassery. I love the red effects too, and just when he first like meets Sonic and he's just so strong and like he just completely like humbles Sonic. It was just a really badass moment.
Sonic literally says, "I'm unstoppable," and Knuckles stops him.
Just palms him. Just easy.
Because I feel like you're more into the lore that's later on with those like newer games and maybe the animated shows that happened in the 2000s. In Sega, I feel like Knuckles was never that much bigger than Sonic, but has that been a thing later on that Knuckles is just like a lot bigger? Because like I feel like he's not like huge.
Huge. Okay.
He definitely he's taller than them. Like I know his knuckles are, but I feel like even when they stood like side by side, I'm like, damn, Knuckles is like a lot taller than these fools.
I feel like Sonic should be taller, like with his hair. Like honestly, in my eyes, just seeing like the video or like the animated show and the video games, I feel like they just kind of are pretty similar here. But yeah, they definitely just made him look like a brute. Like you're comparing him to Drax, and I think they did a good job of just making him like be the brawn and not really a thinker. Like he just has his task and he's just gonna go do it. Because there's a lot of moments when he's just a complete idiot. I think they made it like a little too obvious that he was just like an airhead. But again, it's a kid's show. But when they're like Robotnik's just being a prick to everyone, and then Knuckles is like making a comment like, "Oh, you don't like." I forget specifically what he said, but it's almost like you don't care about him. Like you're just gonna completely like screw him over. I can't even think of the right word right now, but And he just says that multiple times, and then he gets screwed over, and he's like surprised. He's like, "You were my friend. I trusted you." And
Yeah,
it's like
when he
all
said
movie, you've
friend.
been like commenting on how you
Yeah.
just can't trust this guy because he just keeps like screwing people over. But again, it's a kid's show, so maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. But I
The
think
correct line was Knuckles said, "You keep fucking these people over." I was really surprised when he dropped that bomb.
That's
in
what
there.
Kirklin actually said in the theater.
Yeah,
Just
they're like,
screamed
that's
it
why you
out.
didn't see the end credit scene. They're
I
like,
had to
get
run.
this guy
Security
out of
was
here.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I did like that moment when Knuckles was on the cliff and all the robots around, and he thinks like they're gonna shoot him, and he's like, "I will not," and stairs, and he walked. I'm like, okay, that one got me. So
Could have been a Drax moment. And he's just like, I can take it when they're
Yeah.
just about to shoot him off the cliff.
he pretty much was saying that, and then he realized that Robotnik was just trying to help him up, but really he had nefarious means, you know.
Yeah, I loved all like the flashback stuff too to the battle with the echidnas and the owl people. Or that's probably like canon with the Sonic stuff. I really that goes over my head. I don't know any about that stuff, but
It felt like
I-
they weren't making it up. Like it felt
no,
like
yeah,
they were going off of
it's
something
source
that
material they're pulling.
Yeah,
And I yeah, I liked what was shown at the very beginning of Sonic 1, but it was so quick. I'm glad that they went back and kind of filled in those gaps because I wanted I wanted to know more about that. The little army of echidnas that were just really aggressive on Long Claw or whatever the hell her name is.
one day we're gonna get a full movie in those worlds. You know that my prediction
That's what I'm
is
hoping.
the third movie is gonna end with him having to leave, and it's gonna be like a big emotional thing with James Marsden. So if they never make another one, well, then that's the end of the trilogy. But if they make one, then boom, we can get some more in
Smash
there.
Bros movie.
Well, we're a little far from that. It's we haven't even got a fucking Mario movie. And we're not talking about the '80s one or '90s one. Let's take our second ad break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Kirkland, do you look like you want to keep going on a point there?
I don't think so. I was just finishing up my thoughts on Knuckles, I think.
Yeah, what about Tails?
Transition to Tails. Yeah, Tails, I really liked what they did with him in this, honestly. He was, again, like Batman and Robin. Like, he's just such a great sidekick. He's always just, like, Team Sonic and, like, praises him. And I always loved that, like, in the cartoon show. And they did that again in this movie, and they do it right away. I like how Sonic has some legacy in some way, shape, or form. He's just like a legend that everyone kind of knows about, and they don't explain it, but like that's good enough for me.
Who's
It's good enough
talking
for-
about him?
Exactly.
Who knows about Sonic?
Sonic or Tails is just watching him all the time, apparently, even in his bubble baths. But
Yeah, that was a little strange.
but no, I like their little kinship. I like that Sonic was just kind of giving him some self confidence, and the little scene when Sonic's like gives him the blanket, they're sleeping, and then Tails' tails pop up and just kind of like cover up Sonic. That was just kind of a cute moment, and I thought he was good. I liked that he had his gadgets. I love the iconic plane that I
Yeah.
knew was going to be in it because it's on the poster, but it was just still great to see it. I think the start of Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis is Sonic and Tails on the biplane, like chasing Knuckles, and then
And he
you're like
takes it
chasing.
out.
Yeah.
I think that might be
it's-
3.
Oh, okay, it might be
It,
3. Yeah,
it might be 2 or 3, but one of them it is. He that was what I always remember is he's
Yeah.
going, and then Knuckles was on the
Iconic
wing,
opening.
and he's like tapping his foot, and then he
Oh, yeah.
crashed down, and
Because Sonic has he's Supersonic in that moment. He has all the emeralds, and then Knuckles
Yeah.
just like fucks him up. Yeah, it's such a great open to a little Sega
Yeah.
Genesis game. I don't even know
What?
why it just
oh,
popped in my brain.
Oh, we're talking about
Sonic's
we're
on the
talking
brain.
about Sonic, But did you know what these master collections went on? Because like back in the day, those Sonic games, it used to be like, let's say you get 3 or 4 lives, but when you die, you have to go all the way at the start of the game, right? Like that was the big thing where it's like you don't want to die
yeah.
because you have to start over.
It's like an arcade game, so yeah,
Ha-
arcade rules like. in
Have
that
they
sense.
changed that? Is there like a non-arcade feature? Because I'd like to go
Well-
back and beat some of these games, but I even as a kid, like,
They changed it.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
I bought the original Sonic on my iPhone, and they have like a save feature. You can play as
Okay.
Knuckles,
Oh,
Tails,
okay.
and
Good.
Sonic, and you can do all the levels.
Okay, because like I would like to, but I don't have the time in my life to play like 15 levels and die on 16 and be like, well, you didn't get to 18,
Yeah.
you got to start from the beginning. It's like, no, fuck that shit. It's not my life anymore, So, Taylor, what did you feel about some of the new characters?
I really, really liked having Knuckles on this. I think Alba did a fantastic job voicing him too. I didn't get like thrown off by the voice at all. I thought it got better definitely at the end with the baseball game, but no, I thought it was fantastic. I liked his kind of persona and his character just being kind of a little too trusting, but at the same time, just this is his quest, and he's got to like fulfill it because he's damaged to goods from what his father abandoned him.
Well, I don't think his father abandoned him. His father
They abandoned
sacrificed
him. They said, "You stay here. We're going out to another world to go and fight."
That's not abandoned.
Your day will come,
They
son.
abandoned him because no one took care of him.
So do you want to go tell all the people that like fought in World War II that their fathers died, that their fathers abandoned them? I think it's more like
But the father didn't give him a caretaker or anything that we know of. Like he just
he
left.
thought he
him
was
going to
win the war. He thought he was.
Well,
gonna
Knuckles
come
probably
back.
would have died if he went with them, so you
Yeah.
could look at it like he saved him.
That's what I took it as.
Your
He's
time
going
will
to that war
come,
to
son.
Yeah,
And
he's
look where
going
he
to
is
that war
now.
to save his son.
Yeah, but if he did bring him, he could have got the killing blow. But we'll never know. I mean,
Wow.
it's
You hear that?
unfortunate.
And if you went to war and you left someone back, Taylor's calling
No,
you.
no.
You
This
abandoned.
is
you
a kid no
abandoned-
war. This isn't human war. Very
Maybe
different
Knuckles'
scenario.
dad is like, I want that for Knuckles. Just his boys, like, just being bros down by the beach playing volleyball. And then look at him now. He's got his boy.
Yeah, they're
Those
playing
boys.
base of ball. Yeah.
No,
Base of ball.
I really really enjoyed seeing Knuckles kind of just make the transition to good. That it was something like obviously watching like the old cartoons that you were mentioning, Travis, back in the 2000s. That's something I realized like I didn't know too much about Knuckles aside from like okay he is a villain, but I know at some point he makes the shift.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see that in the movie here. Getting Tails was fantastic. That was like the highlight for me because after seeing that first movie and that post-credits scene when Tails popped in, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. That means they're looking to the future here. And I bought that DVD and we got the second one. It happened. That's what I told you guys was going to happen. And it's fucking
Yeah,
like,
but we didn't get it because you bought the DVD. You
Oh,
helped
yeah.
like a little percentage, but
Oh,
like
yeah, that was it.
it didn't resist on like it didn't rely on your sole purchase of the DVD. And the fact that you got DVD and not Blu-ray is a little.
I did
frightening
get
as well.
Blu-ray. I did
Oh,
get
okay.
Blu-ray. DVD, Blu-ray, digital copy. You got to do the three. the
Sure,
hat
you don't
trick.
want Blu-ray? No, I just want the DVD. Don't give me anything else.
But no, Tails' voice, I didn't have any problems with that either. I loved how he was just whipping all the cool technology and all the different pieces. It just really, really proved to be a valuable asset to Sonic. And their whole dance sequence when he whipped out like the mimic like copied like holograms of themselves
The
and they're
Loki,
just dancing
yeah.
away. I really laughed when the Serbian dude like took his jacket off, had this tattoo, and just started dancing, and it was just flexing, and he couldn't like focus when they started doing their disco dancing. I really found it funny.
You
but I was
enjoyed that.
really, I enjoyed it. I was wondering like, where's he going? Because he took the map and like shoved it down his pants. I was like, okay, what is he doing with this? Like,
Yeah,
this is
I-
kind of weird.
I was surprised that happened in this movie. It was for people that weren't watching along. They set up like Sonic and Tails have to fight this guy, but he really just want to dance off. And yeah, it was something, all right.
It was very
Yeah,
something.
I didn't really care for that sequence.
No, I'm glad you
the
did
end-
though, Taylor.
Yeah, we also like had like a very similar bar scene in the first movie. So as soon as
It's
we
like
opened into
identical almost.
as soon as we went into the bar, I was just like, really? We're doing this again? Like, I guess he has Tails here and they're in snowsuits. Let's see where this goes. But they handled it differently, but it was pretty much the same setting and everything. So
They just
think it's
saved
a
the
little
Quicksilver
too repeaty.
scene till later to like the robot
Yeah.
scene because that's where it happens in the bar. But
Yeah.
yeah, it felt not exactly like you said. It's not to a T, but it's just like the setup. It just looks like they used the same set almost. You know, to me, like it was like the like wooden, like kind of darker set. So
They didn't
Yeah.
do any of those like you said that silver scene. I mean, I get they had that silver scene kind of like when he was jumping through the lasers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like they didn't even then it wasn't like spot on as slow mo as he did
No.
in that original, the first one. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't do another one of those. Like
they had to pay Elba somehow.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, that's
like they had
true.
to cut that scene just so they could pay him. You know, like we can't
Mhm.
animate that. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you could do more, but it's like at the same time, I don't know. It's even when I rewatch it, I was going, anytime I see that, I guess that's just such the good thing about Days of Future Past is I just think of Quicksilver. Anytime any movie does that nowadays, that's all I think of is like, man, they're just trying to do this. And even the X-Men movies couldn't do it as good as that first scene, you know? So, and also I just want to mention because of Tails, because I think what the thing is like, there's a female voice singer, and I think the reason they do that is because like a female voiced there's a female voicing Tails, him. I'm pretty sure like a female voiced him in the animated series as well. Why is Tails just not a girl now? If like I don't I don't understand. I just refer to Tails like almost as a girl. I guess almost like with Knuckles. What is the actual girl's like? He has like a love interest, doesn't he? She's a pink one.
Amy.
Yeah.
Amy. Okay,
yes.
so I imagine we got to get her soon at some point, right? Because like with Shadow Kirkland,
Obsessive girlfriend.
yeah, with Shadow though, like you get him, and is there ever a time where I feel like he becomes like an anti-hero at some point, right? Like, is he ever on the
Oh,
good
absolutely.
side? Yeah. So,
Yeah. Sonic
Who-
Adventure 2 Battle, baby.
so after Shadow, I know I'm already going to Sonic 4, but like after Shadow, like who do you pull? You know, because Shadow's like I know
As
the
a
big
villain?
one. Yeah, because like obviously it was like, okay, you got to do Knuckles, you got to do Shadow. Those are like the two obvious ones, and I feel like doing
Chaos.
Amy.
You do chaos. Like, there's like a
Who's
big
this guy?
water beast. I think his name's Chaos. His whole thing is like when he absorbs the Chaos Emeralds, he just becomes absolutely a huge
Oh,
threat.
shit.
So.
Okay.
So they'd probably go that route. It's like a big Avengers level threat too, so that could be a good like, especially if you're bringing in Knuckles, you're bringing in Shadow. You know, you kind of have
Amy.
your own adventures. Yeah, Amy.
I
She has a big hammer actually, and there's a lot of like
Sonic
side
has one,
characters
too?
that they introduce. See, all that stuff is like just stuff I learned through the video games because the TV show that I watched didn't have like any of those characters. It was from I think 1993, and it was just like its own thing. Sonic had his own side, like it was Sonic and Tails, Robotnik, but then like all different characters. I think Sonic X was the new show that introduced
I think this is the one I saw.
all the
yeah,
all
'cause
the
it was
side
like all of them
characters.
together. It was always
Yeah.
like an Avengers team. Every
Yeah, exactly. And then some of the games like went off what was going on in that show. They probably had a cartoon movie or something like that too around that time,
yeah.
I'd imagine, because that was like the peak of its popularity.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could definitely see Chaos appearing if they keep going.
Oh
beyond
yeah,
Shadow.
I was just trying to find the Chaos. Yeah, he literally just looks
That's
like
his
a
name,
water
right?
Sonic.
I'm
So
not
yeah, it
fucking
was
that
Chaos.
up.
You're
Okay.
right. So, there was one show that aired 1993 to 1994. That was the one you're
Yeah.
probably thinking of. Just
Oh, yeah,
Sonic the
VHS, baby.
Hedgehog.
There's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a whole whackload of cool characters. Like you got
Oh, yeah.
Amy, Rouge the Bat, Cream the
Oh, yeah.
Rabbit, Espio the Chameleon, Charmy the Bee.
Espo the Chameleon. Yeah, and I just feel like with Amy, I guess just the only reason is because I feel like that. So they bonded a bit. I don't know how I still feel about Sonic referring to Jim Marsden as his dad because I feel like in the first one they did not play off to me like
Yeah,
Sonic.
it was really weird.
Yeah, like they did, they did not play
weird.
off Sonic as a child in the 1st one, but now they're playing him off like. At first, I was like, "Okay, maybe go with like late teen," but they're trying. Like he's like, "You're not even grown up. You're a kid."
That
and
was
like,
a setback for me.
it was weird. It's just like if Taylor all of a sudden was to start referring to some older man as his dad, like someone that like his equivalent. Like he started calling
We're
me
friends,
dad.
Travis. Stop pretending to be my dad.
Yeah, and then like dad, he just pulled the Peter Parker line from 2002 Spider-Man, but. I think there would be lots of fun with Jay Mars and his lady and Sonic meeting a other hedgehog that he'd have romantic feelings for and he wouldn't know what to do. Like I think there's some that's the stuff where you can use the humans when it's in relation to Sonic, not their own fucking way. I know some people might be like, oh well, the FBI or gun was trying to catch Sonic. Yeah, I just don't need all the other stuff. So I just think. Amy is. I could see her maybe next movie, like obviously Shadow, and then like I said, I hope that we do eventually just end up going back into more of these worlds, you know, because it's nice to see Green Hills, but I definitely want more of that stuff. So
I feel like even a more likely threat other than chaos could be just Metal Sonic. That's like a reoccurring villain. I think even
always
since
Metal
the
villains.
Sega games. So it's like an easy cop out one, but just another. It probably a more likely one than doing a big threat like Chaos, but you never know. I think that'd be a fun one. I think a lot of fans would be stoked to hear that.
Yeah, and I will say, minor spoilers for you, not but too many. There's a fight scene in Morbius Taylor, of course, with the main villain hero, and you couldn't see shit. I'll give them tons of credit here because yeah, it's bright colors, but when they're fighting and spinning around Sonic and Knuckles, I could see everything clearly. I could see their punches, stuff like that. So it shows that you can still do this, people. Like even this fucking kids movie, you can make a clear fight and everything like that. So
Cement mix. That's what we saw in Morbius.
fucking cement mix, yeah.
I
just-
check my notes.
Yeah, me too. I was just trying to see
Oh,
the Adventures of Sonic. I was trying to see what Sonic. I think a new series in 2003 began airing called Sonic X. Yeah, the
there you
78
go.
episode. That's the one that I watched because yeah, that has just a slew of people and everything. And it was always on YTV. Always on YTV.
oh, of course. Yeah, I think there was.
Kirkland-
I think the game was Sonic DX, and that was like spin off from the show, so that makes
Sonic
sense because
dropping
all those
sockets
characters
everywhere?
were in it.
Do you know the name of the form? Because I'm pretty sure there was. It looked familiar, like it was out of the games when they were together. Knuckles and Robotnik were in the lab, and they just had the mini Sonic hologram appear, but it didn't look exactly like Sonic. It looked like a darker blue, like the black eyes with like red irises.
Oh, that'd be Metal
or whatever.
Sonic.
That was Metal
that's-
Sonic in
Yeah,
that hologram. Okay, that's what I thought, because I just thought, okay, this is another Easter egg here.
yeah.
was really
No,
cool.
that's a good pull because that's
Right,
exactly
yes.
what he looks like.
That's
Yeah,
And then there's even like
oh,
Metal Shadow and like stuff like that, of course.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's just Godzilla, and that it's just, like that's what you'll do with your kaijus and everything. But this is the thing. I don't know. I'd have to maybe I'll look up when we do our final thoughts here about the budget. I think this will obviously like make money. I think you'll get a third for sure. But as long as I keep, that's when we look up right now. As long as I keep these budgets to a respectable route, you could keep going with these, especially because like. Sure, it's just fucking like Metal Sonic and stuff like that. But if these are primarily aimed for kids, that won't matter. Like they're like, cool,
No.
it's Metal. It's a bad guy. What you have to do is for these movies, you got to push it out while these demographics are this age, so they will keep going to see it. Because if you take too long and they age up, then that's when it's like, oh no, you've lost them because they don't care about a Metal Sonic anymore. So this came out, like look at this. This came out in 2020, and then we got the sequel in 2022. They got to keep that momentum up. Every 2 years, that's what they got to do.
It's crazy. I was telling Shay today that I think the last movie I saw before COVID happened was Sonic. It could have been Birds of Prey. The Sonic and Birds of Prey came
They're
out like
close
around
to
the
each
same
other.
time.
It was Birds of Prey.
Oh, okay. I was
'Cause
gonna say
Birds of Prey
I
was
thought it was
February.
Sonic, and then we're doing the Sonic review like the day restrictions are like lifted again. It was a weird full circle with Sonic. But fuck, there is a moment when Robotnik like first comes to the house and Tails is there to like save the day and get Sonic out of there, and Robotnik's on the windshield and he's just doing like some rabies
Fuck,
thing.
that got me.
All I was thinking to myself was like, I wish I could just see
like,
Travis's reaction right now to seeing Jim Carrey just like pretending to have rabies. He's like sitting with his kid watching Sonic. Like
When he was when he put his mouth up against the window and was just like licking it like he was in a porno. I did not know how to feel in that situation. It was very odd.
That was so fucking funny.
And
I
it
knew
was-
Taylor would like it.
It wasn't even the fact that they did it. It was the fact that they held on to it for so long. Like again, like this movie just like it could be shorter too, And yeah, it was something. But thank God I had popcorn and pop to just like okay, get through this experience. I looked it up. The budget's $90 million, so it's kind of walking the same ballpark as Morbius. But I think this will do better than Morbius because there's not too many kids movies out. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
There was a lot of like humor with like real world situation stuff. They're flossing again. I didn't like that the first time around. Now we have Robotnik
Oh,
flossing.
yeah.
I like all of the. I feel like majority of that real world like pop culture references and stuff like that just didn't hit with me at all. However, there was one that I did laugh at. Was I don't even remember the line. It was basically just talking about like two people not liking each other. It was Vin Diesel and The Rock and a little Fast and Furious. Travis Snell, GeekVerse podcast, chance to show his true quality.
I can't remember what the item was, but at some point Jim Carrey gets an item and he says, "This is as useless as a backstage pass to a Limp Bizkit
Oh, yeah.
concert." And that's when I thought, man, you can't let Jim Carrey go as hard as he wants to because there's
The
no
kids movie. I know. I like wanted to rewind in the theater. I'm like, did you
I
really
didn't
just
even
say
get
that?
that reference. What does it mean?
Well, he's just because like so you know who Limp Bizkit was, right?
I have to see a picture.
Well, you won't see. It's a band. They had lots of popular like pop rock.
It's like
stuff
a
in
rap
the
rock.
90s. Yeah, rap. Yeah, rap rock's a better term to do it.
Definitely don't.
My
know.
Way or the Highway's a big thing they had. My Way or the anyway. So, but that's what I mean. Like that, you didn't even get that reference, Taylor. And this thing where like, so one, it's useless because like they're not a popular band. But like, I just feel that is such a like an old man reference. Like that is such like it's a reference to the point of, man, you're dating yourself. This is stuff this is not funny. It's not funny, you know why? Because one, it's not even that funny, but two, no one's gonna fucking get this joke. Why are you saying this in a kids movie? And that's where it's just like he would keep doing these things. And I was trying to explain this to Emily, where it's like the Shrek movies, right? Where they are kids movies, but there's tons of like adult jokes and innuendos that the kids won't get, but the adults get, and we laugh, or like when we went back on it as an adult, you go, oh man, they put that in there. I feel like they are trying Oh, excuse me. They're trying to do that for the adults with some of the adult storylines and the jokes Jim Carrey's doing. They're like, oh, the adults really get a kick out of this. No, we're not. I'm not laughing at the Limp Bizkit thing. And again, it's not a big. It's not that I care that much about the Sonic film. I just couldn't believe he's dropped that reference. And it's like you're making a Limp Bizkit joke in 2022. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And that's when I knew. Okay, the writers did not write that line. That's 100% Jim Carrey, because when he was coming up, Limp Bizkit was a big thing, right? And it's just. Yeah, it was. I did not have that on my bingo card in Sonic 2. It was a Limp Bizkit reference, and he had a few of those. Like you said, the floss, and that's like stuff that I've always wondered about Deadpool. Where I'm excited to, in a few years, more than a few years, but when Gwen watches at whatever age, when she's like, let's say she's like a teenager, or adult, because there's so many references in those movies that are like timely, right, up to the decade or the year, and it will be like, is the stuff around this still gonna be funny, or is it gonna be when she watches it's like, oh, the percentage of it being funny is a lot lower because I don't understand these jokes. And that is the problem, that it's good for us in the moment, but like the Rock Vin Diesel thing, the floss thing, like people are gonna have to look up like, oh, it's just, they're not joke, it's like not situational humor, it's like timely humor, which is tough to do. So
I heard someone make a quote about that regarding just like music and like using like real world life like situations.
Yeah.
It almost makes your whatever you're putting out like it's not going to be timeless because they're like the Limp Bizkit thing. Like in 20 years, someone could be like, "Oh my god, that's such a great joke." Yeah,
I'll make a joke again in 20 years.
Today, people.
I'm just going extreme example, but already you see it. So you just I always prefer if they don't do stuff like that. I understand you can't always do that with comedy and stuff like that, and that's just the way of the road, bubs. But yeah, that's it.
Any other notes or things to shout before we get to our overalls here?
I will say another cool Easter egg was when Stone henchman was circling through, like he's just chilling in the Mean Bean, and he was circling through the different suits for Robotnik, and there was the one like classic like tall and like the fat gut like Robotnik suit. It just looked awesome. I love Jim Carrey's Robotnik like suit in this whole film. It was so much better than the first film.
I liked his look more for sure with the bald head and everything.
I would love to cosplay so hard I don't want to shave my head again, but like, fuck, he looks so good.
You'd be a good Robotnik. You can just get like a skin cap. You don't have to wear.
That's what I always hate about like Halloween. It's with the charity stream. There's so many times where I want to do it. I'm like, oh, but I don't like. I'd feel stupid shave my head right before the stream because I just do it for the stream. Like I want to do Jack Skellington. There's a few bald costumes I want to do, but it's like, do I really want to do that? But yeah. Anything else?
Nope. That's everything. Oh yeah, I missed the end credit scene, but I just love the like the old school Sonic reference that they did for just rolling the credits. It was really really cool, and yeah. Maybe want to just load up the Sega. Probably still runs. Probably have to blow on the cartridge. It's at my parents' house. I'll have to dig it out. Got next gauntlet match on the Sega Genesis. Do you think we can hook that up to the capture card?
Fuck, you should. I got Shadow the Hedgehog on GameCube ready to go too.
I have that as well, actually. And I think it is 2-player, like competitive.
Is it
So
really?
I think maybe we should bring that in the. I remember playing against a buddy back in the day.
It's just called Shadow the Hedgehog, the game?
He has a standalone game, and it's literally, he has like
Nice.
guns. He rides a motorbike. It's like the Punisher. It's insane. Oh yeah, for a kids show.
Why does he need a motorbike if he can run real
He's
fast?
fucking badass. That's why.
Okay.
He's not the world's fastest hedgehog.
I guess so, yeah. Final thoughts. I guess there's not much to say because now we're in the very end of the spoiler. I enjoyed this as much as I could. Now I have a better idea of, because I'd have to go back. I know we re-released it, but I didn't listen to it. I probably was I know I was most negative on the first Sonic one. I think that was just more because people were just saying like, finally the first great video game movie, and I just watched and it's like, man, we need a higher standard, because even if it's good and enjoyable, I still think like we can get to a point where we can be like, man, this movie fucking is awesome. Where this to me is like, this is a maybe enjoyable kids movie. I think it's enjoyable because the Sonic stuff, the lore, the characters are already hit on the head. The adult stuff, not so much. Jokes are iffy. I like, it's tough for me again because it's a kids movie. I wouldn't really feel like the need to like rank this, but like I'd give it the same thing as Morbius, where Morbius last week I took back the score. I pulled a reverse Kirkland. I said right away, like legitimately, I gave it a 6 out of 10, and then like the next day, I'm like, because I did the math, and I'm like, oh. In the review, I'm like, oh, I gave Morbius a 6 out of 10 because that's what I gave Venom. But I remember when I rewatched Venom, I'm like, oh, this is definitely a 5 or lower. So I was going off my old scores. So Morbius is definitely a 5, and I think this is what this is. It's like just like it's a pass. It's a 50%. It's right there on the spectrum. It's enjoyable if you can, either be a big fan like Kirkland is, or maybe have kids or somebody to go with. But yeah, I won't watch this again other than like it might be on the TV because Gwen liked it. I'll say that. It's like for the kids review, I guess I should have led with that too, is that she seemed to enjoy it. I think like most kids, she enjoyed like having all the different type of characters, right? Because for them, it's a new it's multiple anime characters. Like it seemed like she liked Knuckles more than Tails, but she had a good time with it. There's maybe a few times, the only times were like the human parts where she was maybe not getting bored, but maybe looking around or like wanting the popcorn more than usual and stuff like that. So, but she enjoyed it, and she's gonna be 5 in a few months here. So it hit her spectrum. She was already asking about the next one. She asked if there was a trailer, and I had to explain to her how movies are made. Like, no, that's not how it works. There's not a preview for Sonic 3 yet, but Marvel has already trained her enough to know like, oh, that's the next one. So she would probably give it a big thumbs up. So
nice. Taylor, what do you think?
Yeah, like I said, like I really enjoyed this film. There's so much more like wackiness.
You said you loved it when your opening statements. Now it's enjoyed.
Enjoyed. Oh well, you guys highlighted a few other things too that kind of like grounded me a little bit more. But I stand by my statement that I definitely enjoy that first one just like a little bit more. But again, the margin is not significant. That I stand by. But there were a lot of cool concepts and just world building components to this movie that I really, really, really loved. Again, Knuckles and Tails, and getting to see more Robotnik, and then the shadow setup, and just how we're branching out crazily into this universe, which is fantastic. I'm super excited to see where we're gonna go. Some of the humor didn't work with me. Some of the humor did, like when he was like Knuckles. One scene in particular, Knuckles is reading the text messages. He's like ... That fucking got me. There's like one other person that laughed in the theater with me, and I think he was like 4 or 5 years old, but it was fucking funny. So I also think that you guys talked about it, that human stuff was just a little bit too much. But once we got to that back end of the movie and it got into the secret temple and everything, it was just okay, we're just riding the storm here. This is fantastic. And got the giant Robotnik mech suit and everything. It was just getting so awesome, and just yeah, it's doing its job. Makes me want to go play Sonic. I got it on my phone. I have to boot it up and just get into it. But I would give this movie probably, I wish I could remember what I gave the first one. I feel like I could sit strong at like an 8 out of 10 because I'd easily rewatch it again. But it's not a perfect movie.
You're probably like a 9. I would assume you're probably
on the first
9.
one. I think I was, yeah. So
8.5.
I'm gonna have to go back and check. Yeah, I highly recommend this movie. I definitely do. I think you should definitely give it a chance and go see it. It definitely felt a little bit long because there were like consistent, multiple long battle sequences in this. But I mean, I noticed it, but I didn't notice it enough for it to be a negative or a takeaway. So,
thanks, Dad. All right, Kirkland.
Yeah, Sonic 2. I I really liked it. I think I said this earlier. I think for a sequel, I think they did good. I think it's building upon what they already laid the foundations on, and just expanding the universe more so to just allow for more movies. I'm not hating Sonic. I think that's good. Like the core crew. I'm not scratching at the bit to get more, but I'm excited to see more. Like when the third one comes out, it's not like the Fantastic Beasts thing where it's like, fuck, they're still making movies like this. Like I don't want to be at that point for Sonic. I like
still making movies like this.
I like what you're saying, Travis. How like hopefully by the end of the trilogy, it ends where he kind of goes out on his own and then just allows them to do like a full Sonic animated world. I think if we do go that route, that's where I could possibly see myself being like, man, what a like leaving the theater and being like, man, what a great Sonic experience. I think being tied to live action human stuff, it's unfortunately I don't think I'm gonna be there like with these just very flat side characters I do not care about at all. And there was a moment when like James Marsden's like wife in the movie was just like having a one-on-one with Sonic, like, no, you're family, we love you. And I'm like, who the fuck is this chick? And like it was
Gotta watch
just
the
so
first one
random.
again.
She's gotta have like her one-on-one moment with Sonic here, and I'm like,
That's his mom.
I don't. It's his mom.
That's
They're,
his
like,
mom.
The same
If James
fucking age,
Marsden,
probably.
if James Marsden's
I hate
his dad,
that. I hate that he's his son. I hate that.
If James Marsden's his dad, she's his mom.
Yeah, I fucking lame, but nonetheless, it's funny. I went back to the Sonic review for the first one because I just wanted to know what my score was. I didn't listen to the whole thing, so Taylor, I'm sorry, I don't know what your rating was. I know what my rating was, and it's so much lower than I thought it was. I failed the movie. I went 4 out of 10 for the first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I was harsh. I know.
Well, I like I said, for some reason, when I thought back to the review, I thought, okay, I didn't like it a lot because of everyone's high praise for it. But when I did plug it in, like I said, we were about half an hour in, and like I don't need to watch any more of this. Where this one I feel like is more, I could put this in and maybe rewatch it again if I had to. But that's where I'm definitely on the different side of you, Taylor. That first one for me, it's just, I guess it's like, it just feels almost again like too much like an origin story we've seen so many times. Like it's, I don't know, that first one is just, it's very meh to me.
I got Taylor's score. I pulled up the review, and I
What do you
just
got?
happened to you did 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm
This
glad
one's a
where I'm
point lower.
standing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's wild. And then I went 4 out of 10, which is just bizarre. I don't remember hating it that much, but I haven't rewatched it, so maybe that's a why. That's a reason why. So I think I'm gonna give this one like. It sucks because I really, really liked the beginning, and then I was just so out of it for the middle. I feel like I just blanked out, and then the end scene just really like took me. And when they're playing like baseball, that was so fun. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I need like a Super Mario or Mario versus Sonic at the Olympics again, like just next gen. They haven't done that series in so long. What are you shaking your head for?
I don't
You
need
don't want
no more fucking Mario baseball games anymore.
Sports games.
Fucking
That's right.
Toads
You're
worth.
You're feared.
Toads
You're feared.
worth.
You're scared.
I
Gosh,
am
can't
feared.
speak.
Yeah, because that fucking ref couldn't count to 10. But let's not even get back to that.
I think I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10.
3 points higher than the other one.
Which is crazy. Yeah, that's wild. A year ago, Kirklin was a fucking savage, but I think all the Sonic-y stuff just built upon the character and all the CGI with the fight scenes and everything. I really, really loved all that stuff. All the Easter egg stuff was really good. The human stuff is just really it's forgettable. But I think like Shay hasn't even seen the first or second one, which kind of surprised me. She wasn't able to come to the first movie with me, and as I said, we haven't rewatched it. So maybe when this comes to streaming, we'll sit down and watch it. And I think when it gets to the human stuff like that, that's an easy moment to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna get snacks or like go on my phone. You know, like you can kind of check out, but then still enjoy like the end action sequences. So man, I'm glad we're at least like a 7-ish like from my rating, at least for Sonic, especially since I just have so much love for the character. Don't know shit about the lore, I'm finding out as I'm getting older, which is kind of embarrassing for a guy that, you know, self-proclaimed huge Sonic fan. But,
but here's the thing. I think there's two. I always say this because like I say this about Moon Knight, right? Like I'm a huge Moon Knight fan, but I've not read every single thing. I've read the big runs. I've read a lot of them, but like I hate the whole like if you don't have the complete knowledge. This came from the Scream review where I got someone's character's name wrong, and there was a YouTube comment respond like, "Oh, it was a Twitter or someone tweeted me like, how can you be a huge fan of Scream if you got this person's name? Oh, it was the city Woodsboro. I think I said it wrong. Like, how'd you get it wrong?" And it's just like. One, I just misspoke, so fuck off. But two, it's also just like you could be a huge fan of something, but that doesn't mean you're the most like I know every single fact and thing about it. It's just like no, my love for this particular thing means I'm a huge fan. I'm invested in it. You know, it's just like to me, if you go around saying I'm a Sonic historian, you know, I know everything about Sonic. Then it's like, but if you're just a huge fan, it's like no, I love Sonic. You know, it's just like there's nobody like that, you know, don't worry about it. Don't listen to haters.
Thank you for saying that. I feel confident now.
Yeah.
A part of me is semi-curious. Like we have the
Taylor,
original,
you're married, okay? You've chosen to be with a woman. That's the route you picked.
Oh yeah. I think it's funny that on the internet
Where's
this
this
exists.
going?
This trailer exists for the original Sonic, with Sonic with the old like appearance.
Oh, can you bring
And
a
that-
photo of him? Do you have it on the computer? I was wondering.
I have one good to go, but I can bring it up.
Fuck. How seamless was that? It looked like you were looking that up, and he just crushed my soul. Like, oh, you want to bring that? I don't have one. Like, he looked like shocked. Like, he looked like shocked. Like, I would even bring that up because I was thinking about it today as I was watching the trailer, or sorry, watching the movie. I'm like, I kind of forget now what that, like, the old bad Sonic looked like, which is a good thing. Because still, when they have hair, it always throws me off. Like, I know they should have hair, but when I see Sonic with fur, it's always like oh, that's weird. Because I'm just so used to him being like smooth and everything.
Well,
but
I think it's humorous because, okay, so they have the old Sonic and the new Sonic look, but Tails was in that first movie, which means they had an old original creepy Tails look too, and I wish I could see what that one looked like. Oh yeah, it has to exist. But
they probably. Oh god.
Fuck.
I'm curious what Knuckles would have looked like with that like design. Like fuck, could you imagine?
With the eyes, that's the creepiest thing.
The human teeth.
And the legs, like that's just a headshot, but the legs, even like still on the new model, the legs still kind of freak me out because in the old one, he just had like sticks for legs, like now it's just he's got these fuzzy little guy legs.
My favorite excuse for this always is like, well, we wanted to make more realistic, and it's like, well, this fucking Hedgehog come from a multi-dimension that can run super fast and easy to look realistic. You fucking with me right now? Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they did make a good call, and like it's just so funny where we are. You know, he's 2 movies in, probably gonna get a third. Good for Sonic. Sucks for that team that redesigned him and then they fired them like months later, you know, so hopefully they got paid, but they probably got worked to the bone and treated like shit and then got thrown to the side. So
I'm pulling the legs one up, Kirklin, because I forgot about the legs. It's
yeah, the legs were
terrifying.
fucking nightmare escape. They were nightmare fuel.
I mean,
because I remember wasn't the legs one of the first thing. Fuck.
Yeah. I can't believe that trailer actually came out.
He looks like Mike Myers, like Cat in the Hat. Like that's what he looks like on the left over there. Scary.
Kind of does.
That is. Look at those ankles. Like he doesn't even have like the regular socks that Sonic have, where they're all bunched up. That is just creepy. Like if you just cut out like the top half, that's just like a woman with some spandex on or something. Huge shoes, but fucking creepy.
You know, there was this girl at the club, man. She had some spandex on, huge fucking shoes too. But I fucked her. Let's wrap this review up. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And you know what? I appreciate that they're just going to the numbers. Why? I know everyone's like, well, you got to do the subtitles nowadays. It's a fucking kids movie. Just do the numbers. It's great. We'll be here when Sonic 3 comes out. As I said, check the feed. We got tons of reviews that have either dropped or will be dropping this week. Lots of great movies or, you know, all right movies out. So just movies dropping in general, though. So finger
guns. We'll be here for the Knuckles review, too, I'm sure. I guess just me. There's dead air.
I will not commit to reviewing Knuckles the series. I will not do that.
I forgot that was even coming out, so I'll check my sketch.
I feel like that's one. You know, that's one of those options you could always just what we do with Game of Thrones style. We all watch it and then review the season as a whole, you know, or what me and Kirklin did with Euphoria. I don't know if Knuckles needs a weekly review, but I think like we've watched all 6 episodes and we're going to review them now.
Midnight review for Knuckles.
Fuck no, I'm off. I'm not staying up for fucking Elba doing that. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I promise when you hear from us next, it will not be boring.